and welcome to the next day of Mission Yeshas. Today's target was, I hope you have completed it. I hope you are feeling little motivated that you have started with Indian Contract Act. Today's target was Unit 2, that is offer acceptance and communication. And if you have completed your targets for the day, I want you to go to the comment section and write there Contract Act. Yes, please write their contract act. I want to see a lot of comments there. Just keep it, the comment section should blow up, right? And in case you have not done, but you target to finish it before you go to sleep today, again, you know what you're supposed to do. You're going to go and type there the word contract act in the comment section below. So today's target for you was offer and acceptance and communication and revocation. So in this, what all you would have studied the types of offer, which is general offer, a special offer, cross, counter, and standing. General made to the world at large can be accepted by anyone. Special made to a definite person or group can be accepted only by the person or group to whom it is made. Then the next one was cross offer, identical offers in ignorance. What is the result of cross offer? Both the offers will lapse. What is counter offer? I have made an offer to you and you modify and accept it. Modification of my offer is a counter offer by you. What is the result of counter offer? The original offer lapses. What is the result of counter offer? The original offer lapses. And then the last one, standing or open offer. I can in my offer put a time period for which the offer will be open, and if you accept it within that time, only then it's a valid acceptance. Not accepted within that time, it's not a valid acceptance, the offer lapses. Now after this we had discussed the rules of a valid offer. In this we had must be definite, clear and not vague, must be made with an intention to create a legal relationship. Then it must be it may be express or implied. Then the next one was it must be communicated. Mere silence is, I'm so sorry. It must be communicated to the offerer. An offer cannot be accepted in ignorance of the offer. Then the next rule was an offer cannot be accepted in ignorance of the offer. Uh, the next rule was offer must not contain any term, the non-compliance of which would amount to acceptance, though offer can be conditional. And the last one, invitation to offer or a statement of price or statement of intention is not an offer. Then we had started with acceptance, where, one more thing, the person who makes the offer is the offerer, the person to whom the offer is made is the offeree. Acceptance is when the person to whom the offer is made signifies his consent thereto. This we had done already in the first unit, right? Then we had discussed the rules of acceptance. It must be definite, it must be absolute and unqualified. That is, it should not be conditional, it should be unconditional. Then it must be mere silence is not acceptance. It must be communicated. You remember? Larki hasi to fasi, no hasi to fasi. However, it can be done by the conduct of the parties. It must be in the prescribed mode. And but there is one thing: if it is not in the prescribed mode, but the other person accepts it, it's valid. Then it must be made within the time specified, and if no time is specified, it must be within a reasonable time. After this, we had started with we have communication of offer for me when I post it, for you when you receive it. Communication of acceptance is just the opposite for me when you post it, for you when I receive it. I can revoke it. Communication of revocation takes place when the person who is revoking it, when he posts it, for the person against whom it is made when he receives it. And also one more thing, revocation ka time. Revocation of offer is valid if the revocation letter is received before. If the revocation letter is received before the acceptance letter is posted, and revocation of acceptance is valid if the revocation letter receives or reaches before the acceptance letter reaches. Right? Then we'll discuss a few questions from this topic. Anyway, so what are the questions that we have now? Here, no, the first question you would not have seen it. Why? Because this question was there in the RTP. This is the RTP May 26 question. It's a very interesting question, so I decided to take this up. Has a lot of provisions involved. Okay. So let's see. Mr. Sharma, a trader, wrote to Mr. Verma offering to sell him 100 barrels of oil at 5,000 per barrel. The letter reached Verma on 1st June. On 2nd June, Sharma posted another letter revoking the offer. However, before receiving the revocation, Verma posted a letter of acceptance. So before receiving the revocation, Verma posted a letter of acceptance. Letter of acceptance is already posted. Now, can the offer be revoked? No, absolutely no. Why? Because the acceptance letter is already posted. Sharma's letter of revocation reached Verma on 4th June. When Verma later demanded delivery, Sharma refused, stating that the contract was void since he has not specified which kind of oil was being offered, mustard, groundnut, refined, whatever, and further claimed that he has no oil stock at all. Verma sued for breach of contract, insists that valid acceptance has already been communicated. Sharma defended himself by stating that the contract was void for uncertainty and impossibility. Examine the relevant provision of the Indian Contract Act 1872 and decide whether a binding contract was created between Sharma and Verma and whether Sharma is liable for damages. Okay. So what I will do in this question, if we are writing, what we will write is only revocation. But we also have to write about which kind of oil, that is certainty and possibility of performance. Correct? So these are the two provisions that will come in this answer. Also, because they have talked about valid acceptance, we also write about communication of acceptance, right? So these are three things that should come in my answer. Now, here if you will see, no oil stock at all. He doesn't even have the goods. In the answer, what they have done is they have written about impossibility of performance because there is no stock of oil. Rather than impossibility, we would also say he doesn't even have the goods and he has made a contract. So this is breach of contract also. Correct? So anyway, we'll stick to these three provisions and write it on these three lines. So what will I start with? Ma'am, you're writing all the section numbers. It's okay. You don't have to. There is no hard and fast rule. As per Section 4 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, communication of acceptance as against the proposer takes place, huh, as against takes place when it is put in the course of transmission, right? Into the course of transmission so as to be out of the power of the acceptor. Now, let me tell you, if you don't remember this line, it's okay. You need not write it. Okay? This is it. We have to also, so this is communication of acceptance done. We also have to talk about revocation. So, for the person making it takes place when it is put into the course of transmission and and so you know what? This instead of writing it like this, I can also put it in the next line and draw a hyphen. I can also put it in the next line and draw a hyphen. Okay? For the person against whom it is made takes place when he receives it. Fine. Revocation of proposal is valid only if the revocation letter reaches the acceptor before he posts the letter of accept. Okay? So here revocation is done. I am done with communication of acceptance. I am done with time of revocation. Now, because which kind of oil was not given, I have to talk about certainty and possibility. So, as per section 10, one of the essentials of a valid contract is certainty and possibility of performance. Okay? So this, yes, definitely it goes to a huge question right now, right? It is like, oh my God, ma'am, it's not ending. So this is what happens if you write only one line. Why will I give you marks? So obviously the question has carries 5 marks, 6 marks. It's because there is a content to write. No? So unless you write it very clearly, you cover every point because they're covering two things. One, they are covering about revocation and communication. One, they are covering about which type of oil. So things are covered. So we have to put it in such a way where we cover both the things. We have to have provisions where we cover everything. Okay. Now, if the terms of the contract are uncertain, the contract is it's done. Check it. So see here, examine the and decide whether a binding contract was created between now. So therefore, even though the acceptance given by Verma is valid, there is no valid contract between Karma and Verma as the terms are uncertain. Right? So I'm just reading the question so that I write it accordingly. So it was created and whether Sharma is liable. So Sharma is not liable for damages. Okay. So with this, we are done with this question. This was RTP ka question, just made 26. So I wanted to discuss this. We'll move to the next question. Moving on to the next question. So this is a question which is based on invitation to offer. And guys, let me tell you one thing. ICI has great favoritism for this topic. They keep asking questions on invitation to offer a lot of times. So let's see this question. A shopkeeper displayed a pair of dress in a showroom and a price tag of 2000 was attached to the dress. Miss Lovely looked at the tag and the price tag. Price tag is always an invitation to offer, right? Then she asked the shopkeeper to receive the payment and pack up the dress. The shopkeeper refused to hand over the dress to Miss Lovely in consideration of the price stated in the price tag. So he refused to hand over. So it's an invitation to offer. Anyway, we are not bound to sell. Um, Price tag attached to Miss Lovely seeks your advice whether she can sue. Can she sue? No, no. So we just have to talk about invitation to here offer here. That's it. So this is actually an easy question as such, but we don't know in this question what happens. No, we actually don't know what to write for invitation to offer. So I'm not writing the whole thing as per the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872. An invitation to offer must be distinguished from an offer, right? So now we'll just give one line of distinction so that we can understand. Okay? So an offer is made with an intention to contract, whereas in an invitation to offer, the person is inviting the other party to make an offer. If the person likes, he may accept the offer, right? In the case of Harvey versus Fassett, you remember the case of Ma'am, I don't remember the name of the case. It's okay if you don't. If you can make a mention of it, if you remember, it was that case Telegram. Remember? Telegram. Hmm. In the case of Harvey versus Fassett, all price tags are invitation to offer. In this, you can also write all price tags are in a statement of price and hence an invitation to offer. Or you can write all price tags or quotations of price are invitation to offer. Therefore, Miss Lovely cannot sue the shopper as it was just an invitation to offer, and so the shopkeeper is not bound. Okay. Moving on to the next question. The next question is Mr. Pratham applied for a job as a principal of a school. The school management decided to appoint him. One member of the school management committee privately informed Mr. Pratham that he was appointed, but official communication was not given. So it's about communication of who can accept the offer. Right. Later the management of the school decided to appoint someone else. State with reasons. Appoint someone else. Mr. Pratham filed a suit against the school for the cancellation of his appointment. Was it ever a valid acceptance? No. So when the acceptance is not valid, how can there be a revocation or cancellation? And if there is no acceptance, on what grounds can he claim the damages or can he claim to sue the school? So will he be successful in the suit filed? No. Basically, the offer was made to the school management, whereas the communication of acceptance was done privately. So, this question is about who can accept the offer, correct? So, as per the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872, a contract comes into existence when one party makes an offer which is accepted by the other. A special offer can be accepted only by the person or group to whom it is made. ठीक है? A contract comes into existence when one party makes an offer which is accepted by the other. A special offer can be accepted only by the person, or here you can also write one line. A special offer is an offer which is made to a definite person or group, and offer can be accepted only by. Okay. So, any communication of acceptance by the agent of the acceptor without his authority is not a valid accept, right? So the school, therefore, I'm as I told you, I'm not writing the second paragraph. Therefore, Mr. Pratham cannot sue the school committee as the offer was made to the committee, but acceptance was given by a member privately, and so it was not valid. Now, again, I have taken up a direct question because, as I told you, we have not done any direct question. So, how should we actually write a direct question? So, in the previous session we did, in the last session, it was about difference. One more thing that I want to tell you here is, in the previous question, I straight away started with the differences. You can also just write like this. The following are the differences between void and voidable contract. And even if you don't write, that's fine. This, how will I start? Should I start with as per the provisions? You can. There are two ways you can start. As per the provisions of Indian Contract Act 1872, when a person, and you write the definition, right? Or you can also write offer is defined as when a person to whom, so you write the definition, when a person shows his willingness to do or not do something with a view of obtaining the other person's consent to such act or abstinence, he is said to have made an offer. He is said to have made an offer. Right? You will write the full definition there. The following are the valid rules of a valid offer. In last video also, if you remember, I told you when the book has 10 points, and they have given you for 7 marks, they are expecting you to put all the 10 points, right? So whenever you're writing, please make sure you write all the points. Write it in as 1, 2, because see, examiner is not jobless that he'll count your hyphens. Even the hyphens look good, the arrows look good, but I'm sit and count. But when you write 1, 2, the moment the examiner sees your answer, okay, 10 points. Okay, this student has written 10 points. Very nice. So that thought will be there in the examiner's mind. So please always write it like that. So what will you write? First, with an intention, this one, with an intention to create a legal relationship. Second, this point has no explanation, so we'll not write, but you cannot just write the headings, please. Huh? The next one, an offer to be valid must be definite, clear, and not vague. The terms of the offer must be clear so that the other party can understand the offer. If the terms are not clear or are vague, the offer is not valid. Example, A says to B, I will sell you 100 liters of oil at rupees 10 per liter. Since the type of oil is not specified, the offer is not valid, right? Right? This is how you write. So the next point, and in fact, I would say always leave one line after every point, gives a clarity to the reader. An offer may be express or implied. An express offer means an offer made by words, oral or written. An implied offer means an offer given by act of party. For example, a bus flying on a roof, right? Then the next point, an offer must be communicated. When the offerer makes an offer, such offer to be valid must be communicated to the offeree. देखो, if you don't practice writing answers, no, just 30 minutes in the session and I feel severe pain in my hands. I'm like, shit, हाथ मर रहे हैं एकदम. That is the reason we need to keep practicing writing. Must be communicated to the offeree. An offer, unless communicated, is not valid. A wants to make an offer to B and tells C about it. Since the offer was not communicated to B, it is not valid. But if A asks C to communicate it, such offer shall be valid, right? It was held in the case of Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt, that an offer cannot be accepted in ignorance of the right. The next point, point number 5. Now, what does point number 5 say? An offer may be conditional. The offerer may, while making an offer, put some conditions subject to which an offer may be accepted, and the if the offeree wants to accept the offer, he must accept the condition. Example: A says to B, I would sell you my house for 1 crore, but if you give 20 lakhs advance, right? Next, an offer must not contain any term the non-compliance of which would amount to excess. You can always underline the headings also, okay? So, offer must be accepted by words or conduct. Silence cannot be treated as acceptance. Okay? Example: A says to B, you can always put it in inverted commas, I want to sell you my horse if you don't reply within 15 days. I will deem that you have accepted my offer. And last point, an offer must be distinguished from a statement of intention, statement of price, and invitation to offer. Guys, in this, don't forget, in this I'm not writing because in this answer I've already written, and this portion you need to write again here only, and you add always example, price tags, auction, sale, prospectus. They are all examples of invitation to offer. With this, we are done with today's session. I hope you're on target. Even if you are not, I'm hoping you will be. And if you are or will be, keep writing in that comment section Indian Contract Act or just Contract Act. Don't go now because before that, tomorrow's target is consideration. I already told you, if you feel you need to change the portions or the targets a little here and there because some chapter might be easy, whereas some might be a little tougher. You can do that. Tomorrow's target is consideration. Don't forget to revise it. I'll see you in the next video. Don't leave now because Chethan sir is going to come back with QA for you all. Till then, Yashashvi Bhav.
Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to today's QA session for Mission Yeshas. The target that I had given you for today's session was dispersion, alright. So if you have revised and come, please do type dispersion in the comment section. Let us see how many of you have revised and come, alright. So let us see now the concepts in dispersion quickly before we start solving the question. What is dispersion? Amount of deviation in the data or amount of scatteredness from the measure of central tendency. Alright. So the reference value is always a central tendency value. The central tendency measure is regarded as the first order measure, whereas the dispersion measure is regarded as what? Second order measure. Moving on to the measures of dispersion, there are two types of measure. One is absolute, the other one is relative. What are absolute measures? Absolute measures are range, mean deviation, standard deviation, quartile deviation, and the corresponding relative measures are coefficient of range, coefficient of MD, coefficient of variation, and coefficient of QD. Do remember that the absolute measures are dependent on unit, whereas the relative measures are unit independent. All right. Then let's see the first measure of dispersion, be it an ungrouped data or a group data, the same formula. What is range? Largest observation minus the smallest observation. L for largest, S for smallest. Then we have the corresponding relative measure, that is coefficient of range. It's L minus S divided by L plus S into 100. Moving on to the next measure of dispersion, that is mean deviation. Guys, mean deviation about mean, if you learn, that's more than sufficient to get the formula for mean deviation about median, mean deviation about assumed mean, or mean deviation about mode also. So just that we have to take modulus of x minus x bar and then summation of the same divided by n for number of observation. If it is from median, about median, x bar has to be replaced by median, that's it. And if you want the formula for a group data, the same formula as that of ungrouped data, but this modulus x minus x bar has to be multiplied with the corresponding frequency before you take the summation. Have you understood? That is summation f into mod x minus x bar divided by capital N. If you replace x bar by median, it becomes what? Mean deviation about median. If you replace by x bar by assumed mean, it becomes what? Mean deviation about assumed mean. Then coefficient of MD about mean. Guys, please understand, any coefficient or relative measure of dispersion, if you want to find out, the numerator is always the absolute measure of dispersion and the denominator will be reference central tendency value. What is the absolute measure of dispersion here? MD about mean, so that goes to numerator, and the reference central tendency value is x bar, that goes to denominator. Have you understood? Same way, coefficient of MD about assumed mean, so denominator will be assumed mean. If it is about median, so denominator will be median into 100. Then the next measure of dispersion is standard deviation, the best measure of dispersion, and the reference central tendency value for standard deviation is always the mean. Remember, arithmetic mean is the most commonly used measure of central tendency. It's the best measure of central tendency, and the best measure of dispersion is the standard deviation, right? And for ungrouped data, there are two formulas for standard deviation, right? And even for group data as well. So whenever they give you standard deviation, they ask either summation x square or x bar, then use the first formula, root of summation x square by n minus x bar the whole square. So whenever they give you the observation, I mean all observations are given, to find SD. If they ask you to find SD, use the second formula, root of summation x minus x bar the whole square divided by n for number of observation. Same way you can get the formula for group data. The thing is, summation x square should be multiplied with the frequency here, and the small n has to be replaced by capital N, and x bar the whole square remains the same here as well. And over here for the other formula, summation x minus x bar whole square will be present here also, but frequency has to be multiplied with x minus x bar the whole square, and the small n over here has to be replaced by capital N. Have you understood? Moving on to the properties of standard deviation. Guys, remember, standard deviation remain unaffected on shift of origin. What is shift of origin? Adding or subtracting each observation by a common number. What is change of scale? Multiplying or dividing each observation with a common number. On shift of origin, that means addition or subtraction, SD doesn't change. but on change of scale, SD will definitely change. All right. Now, please do understand whatever is the property for SD, the same is the property for even all measures of dispersion, right? Moving on, SD of first 10 natural numbers is root of n square minus 1 by 12. SD of first 10 natural numbers or SD of n consecutive natural numbers, the same formula it is. Guys, have you all understood so far? If you have understood, please do type understood in the comment section. Let's see how many of you have understood. All right. If you are good to go, say yes, right? The next concept is variance. Variance is the square of standard deviation, SD square it is. Then the next concept, very, very important concept, very often they ask questions on this concept, that is CV, coefficient of variation. It is used to test the consistency in the data. To check the consistency in the data, we use what? Coefficient of variation. Lesser the CV, the better is the consistency. And the formula for CV is SD by AM into SD by AM into 100. Moving on to combined standard deviation. If n1 and n2 are the number of observations of the two groups, x1 bar and x2 bar are the arithmetic means of the two groups respectively, and s1 and s2 are the corresponding standard deviation, then the combined SD is given by root of n1 s1 square plus n2 s2 square plus n1 s1 square plus n2 s2 square plus n1 d1 square plus n2 d2 square divided by n1 plus n2. Here the unknowns are d1 square and d2 square. D1 square is x1 bar minus xc bar whole square, and d2 square is x2 bar minus xc bar the whole square. Here xc bar is nothing but the combined mean. So whenever they ask combined standard deviation, the first thing that you have to compute is combined mean. N1 x1 bar plus n2 x2 bar divided by n1 plus n2, that is combined mean. On finding out combined mean, find out d1 square and d2 square, put them in the formula, you get combined standard deviation. Have you all understood? Moving on to quartile deviation. What is QD? Is QD is the appropriate measure of dispersion for open-end classes, because quartiles will take only middle 50% of the observation. So for open-end classes, the appropriate measure of dispersion is quartile deviation. So what is QD? It's Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. This Q3 minus Q1 is called as the interquartile range. Half of it is called as semi-interquartile range, and the semi-interquartile range itself is what? Quartile deviation. Have you all understood? Next up, coefficient of QD, Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1 into 100. If they give you quartile deviation, if they ask you to find coefficient of QD, then it is QD divided by median into 100. All right. Then the relationship between SD, MD and QD for a normal or symmetrical distribution, it is 2 SD equal to 2.5 MD equal to 3 QD. Among these three, please do remember, SD is the highest, QD is the least, and MD is the in-between value. And one last concept, if x and y are the two variables related as ax plus by plus c equal to 0, along with that, if they give you dispersion of x, if they ask you to find dispersion of y, dispersion of y is mod a by b into dispersion of x. From this equation, from this linear equation, we'll be taking only a value and b value, where a is the coefficient of x and b is the coefficient of y. Whereas in case of central tendency, the same concept we have discussed in the yesterday's class. If you remember, we take the entire equation, we put the value of central tendency of x in the place of x, whatever value so obtained as central tendency of y. For dispersion, it is not so. From the equation, we just take a value, b value, and take the mod of them and divide a by b under modulus into dispersion of x. That will give you dispersion of y. And most importantly, whenever they ask variance of ax plus b, please do remember it is a square into variance of x. Variance of ax plus b is a square into variance of x. That's it, guys. That's all the concepts on dispersion, right? Now let's see the questions, the practice questions on dispersion. Yeah, the first question: in a given set of observation, if all the given set, if all data are same, all observations are same, sorry, if all observations are same, then the variance would be, if all observations are same, then there is no deviation in the data. If there is no deviation, SD is equal to 0. If SD equal to 0, then variance is square of standard deviation. Variance is also 0, because variance is what? SD square. Have you understood? It is 0 square, 0 only. If x and y are related by 4x plus 3y plus 11 equal to 0, mean deviation of y is 7.2. Mean deviation of y is given. They're asking us to find mean deviation of x. That's clearly mean deviation is a dispersion measure. So mean deviation of y is mod a by b into mean deviation of x. because mean deviation is what? Dispersion measure. Out of MD of X and MD of Y, what is given? MD of Y is given 7.2, and A value over here is 3, coefficient of X, B value over here is 3, 4 by 3 into MD of X. All that we need to do is just do the cross multiplication. 7.2 gets multiplied with 3, so into 3, 7.2 into 3 divided by 4 gets divided, so divided by 4. The result of MD of X is 5.4. Option D is the right answer. Guys, moving on to the next question, mean deviation about the mean for this set of observations. Guys, first of all, what is the mean for these observations? Because mean deviation about the mean, if you want to find out mean deviation about the mean, it is mod x minus x bar, mod x minus x bar under summation divided by n. This is what is the formula for mean deviation about the mean. First of all, what is mean? Sum of all these observations are 12 plus 16 plus 24 plus 30 plus 35 plus 39 plus 40 divided by how many observations are there? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So divided by 7 you get 28. So mean is 28. Now what you basically do is x minus x bar you have to do and take the modulus. Even though the result is negative, take it as positive. So rather than taking x minus x bar all the time, among x and x bar, whichever is greater, that minus the smaller. So 12 is smaller compared to x bar, so it's not 12 minus 28, it is 28 minus 12, which is 16. Type 16 in the calculator, plus 28 and 16 you compare, the difference is how much? 12. Type 12 plus 28 and 24 you compare, difference is how much? 4. Type 4 plus 28 and 30, the difference is 2, so plus 2, plus 35 minus 28, the difference is 7, plus 39 minus 28, the difference is what? 11, plus 40 minus 28, the difference is 12, and equal to, divided by how many observations? 7 observation. The result is 9.1428. The answer is option A. Have you all understood? Guys, moving on to the next question. If the standard deviation of the data is 4.47, standard deviation of this data is what? Guys, if you look at the observations, 2, 4, 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 17. And if you see the other set of observation, 2 has become 4, 2 has become 4, and 4 has become 8, 5 has become 10, 6 has become 12, 8 has become 16, 17 has become 34. So there is a change in scale. Every observation has multiplied by 2, right? What is this multiplication of every observation by a common number called as change of scale? On change of scale, SD would change. With the same number, SD also gets multiplied. So new SD is old SD 4.47 into what is done to each observation? Into 2. So SD also gets multiplied with 2. 4.47 into 2. That gives you 8.94. That means option B is the right answer. Have you all understood? Guys, moving on to the next question. So far in the history of CACPT and CA Foundation, the toughest question that was asked, I mean, this is what you feel that as the toughest question. It's one of the ICA exercise questions also. It is asked in the exam. So only this kind of questions are little toughest, but I will make it very, very easy and you can solve it faster. Otherwise, if you solve it conventionally, it will take one page. Exam will get over, right? So the best way I will teach you now. So what is the question they're asking? Find the standard deviation of remaining 40 observation. That means they are not asking combined standard deviation. They are asking standard deviation of one of the groups. If you see, the mean and variance of group of 100 observations are 8 and 9. See, total number of observations are 100 and the mean is x bar. Now, please understand, for whatever the mean that is given for the total observation is the combined mean. Because if you see, out of 100 observations, the mean and standard deviation of 60 observations. That means this 100 observations are split into what? Groups. First group will have how many observations? 60 observations. And remaining observations are 40. So N2 is equal to 40. So total observations of 100 are split into two groups, that is 60 and 40. Now, combined mean is given and the combined variance is given. So, combined variance is SC square. Okay, SC is the combined standard deviation, variance is SC, the square. Now, out of 100 observation, the mean and SD of 60 observation, that means N1 is 60, mean is 10, that means this is X1 bar, and SD is 2, that is nothing but S1. Now, they are asking us to find S2. There is a shortcut to find S2, the one-liner to find out S2 is root of N1 plus N2 into SC square. Everything else you have to subtract. All the pairs you have to subtract. What are the other pairs that you have? N1 S1 square minus N2 S2 square will not be there because S2 is on the left hand side, right? So remaining things are N1 D1 square minus N2 D2 square divided by, since S2 is taken on the left hand side, the coefficient of S2 is N2 and N2 will be in the denominator. This is the one line to solve for S2. But the unknown over here is D1 square and D2 square, guys. How do I find out D1 square? D1 square is X1 bar minus XC bar the whole square, and D2 square is X2 bar minus XC bar the whole square. As D1 square I know. How do I know D1 square? X1 bar is how much? 10. XC bar is 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. 2 the square is 4. But if I want to find out D2 square, I need X2 bar. X2 bar is the mean of one of the groups. Here combined mean I know, I know the mean of first group, I don't know the mean of second group. So what I need to do is combined mean is N1 X1 bar plus N2 X2 bar divided by N1 plus N2. Guys, you know how to cross multiply everything, how to transpose everything except X2 bar, right? So firstly, what you transpose N1 plus N2, cross multiply that with what? XC bar. N1 plus N2 is 100 into XC bar is 8, and that will stay positive, so M plus to store it. Then this pair you multiply N1 into X1 bar. N1 is 60 into X1 bar is 10. If this pair is taken to the other side, it becomes negative. So how do you store a negative value? M minus. So and all the pairs have gone, press MRC, divided by this N2 will get divided because N2 is multiplied with X2 bar. So obviously if you take it to the other side, it gets divided. So what is N2? N2 is 40, and the result of X2 bar that you get is 5. Now X2 bar minus XC bar, X2 bar is 5, XC bar is 8, 5 minus 8 is minus 3, minus 3 the whole square is plus 9. So I got the values of everything that is required as per the formula for S2. Guys, feed the values in the calculator. What is N1 plus N2? 100 observations into SC square is how much? SC square is 9 into 9. How do I store it? M plus, because it's a positive value. Then N1 S1 square. N1 is how much? 60. S1 is 2 to the square is 4. So 60 into 4, it's negative, so M minus. N1 D1 square. N1 is 60 into D1 square is how much? 4. And how do I store it? M minus. Then N2 D2 square. N2 is 40 into D2 square is how much? D2 square is 9. M minus. I am done with all the pairs. Press MRC divided by what is N2? N2 is 40. Press equal. Then there is a root. Press the root now. And the answer is 1.224. So the answer here is option D. Have you all understood? This is the only question that is little bit lengthy, but I have made it short because I have given you the shortcut to find out what? S2. Alright, if you don't know the shortcut, you will be spending a lot of time. It will take one page to solve it. Alright, it will take a lot of time. For a given set of normally distributed data, the following statistical parameters are known: mean, standard deviation, median, quartile deviation, and coefficient of quartile deviation is asked. Guys, whenever coefficient of quartile deviation is asked, first of all, you have to look whether quartiles are given or QD is given. You are given with QD, which is 1.5. What is coefficient of QD in terms of QD? It's QD divided by median into 100. QD is 1.5, and what's the median? It's 5 into 100. Take your calculator. 1.5 divided by 5 into 100, that fetches you how much? 30. So option A is the right answer. Moving on to the next question. The first quartile is 42.75, third quartile is 74.25. This is Q1 and this is Q3, coefficient of quartile deviation. Guys, you know the formula for coefficient of quartile deviation, and the quartiles are given. I want you to compute before I solve it. Let's see how many of you get it right. Your time starts now. If you're done, please cross check. Let's see how many of you got it right. So they're asking us to find coefficient of QD, which is Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1 into 100. So how did you solve first? Denominator. What did you solve first? Denominator. Q3 plus Q1. So first of all, what is Q3? 74.25 plus 42.75. What do you do with this? Store by pressing M plus. Go to numerator now. What is it? 74.25 minus 42.75 divided by, where is the denominator? In the memory. How do you recall? By pressing MRC. Press equal into what? 100, and the result is 26.92. Option D is the right answer. So those who have got 26.92, very good, you're on a right track. If the relationship between x and y is given to be 2x plus 3y equal to 10, range of y is given, then what is range of x? It's similar to the question number 2. I want you to solve before I step in. So let's see how many of you get it right. So range is what? Dispersion measure. So please mention your answer in the comment section by typing the question number and the option. Let's see how many of you get it right. So now let me solve it. You know, dispersion of y is equal to mod a by b into dispersion of x. Here range is actually what? Dispersion measure. So why I have used a dispersion concept. Here range of y is given, so in place of dispersion of y I have to put 10, not dispersion of x. A value is coefficient of x, which is 2. B value is coefficient of y, which is 3. So 2 by 3 modulus is 2 by 3 only. And dispersion of x, range of x. To the cross multiplication, 10 3s are 30. 2 gets divided, 30 by 2 is 15. So range of x is 15. Those who have got 15, very good. Guys, let's see the next question. They're asking us to find out what? Coefficient of range. What is coefficient of range? Coefficient of range is L minus S divided by L plus S into 100. So what is the largest observation here? Very good, 84. And what's the smallest observation? 66. Do the calculation quickly. Let's see how many of you get it right. Denominator first, 84 plus 66, store it by pressing M plus, then 84 minus 66 divided by MRC, then into 100. How much it is? 12. So option B is the right answer. Guys, in your PU syllabus, 12th standard, 11th standard or 12th standard, you would have used the coefficient of range as only this much. Into 100 wasn't there. But for CA foundation, they expect that to be a percentage value. So into 100 is there. So it's not 0.12, it is 12. So 12 is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, which one of the following is not a measure of central tendency? So median is a measure of central tendency, arithmetic mean is a measure of central tendency, harmonic mean is a measure of central tendency, range is not a measure of central tendency, it is a measure of what? Dispersion. Moving on, what is the mean deviation about the mean for the following numbers? I want you to compute, because already I have given you the formula for MD about mean for ungrouped data, and we have solved one question already. I want you to compute this and tell me the answer quickly. Okay, please mention the question number and type your answer. Let's see how many of you get it right before I solve this question. So those who have done, so please look at this, how I solve it. So first of all, find the mean. 11 plus 8 plus 10 plus 10 plus 12 plus 9 divided by how many observations are there? 6. And the mean of these observations is 10. Now take the modulus of x minus x bar. The first value of x is 11 and x bar is 10. The difference is 1. We have to take modulus, so plus 1 only. Then 10 and 8, the difference is 2. So type 2 plus 10 and 10 difference is 0. 10 and 10 difference is 0. 12 and 10, the difference is 2. So type 2 plus 10 and 9, the difference is 1. We should be taking positive 1 only. So plus 1. So it is 6 divided by how many observations? 6 only. So 6 by 6 equal to 1. So mean deviation about mean is 1. Guys, moving on to the next question. I want you to solve this because we have solved a question on this already. Coefficient of range, largest value minus smallest value divided by largest plus smallest. Type the question number and leave your answer. We will see how many of you get it right. Next question, find the standard deviation and coefficient of variation for this set of observation. Guys, what is SD? Whenever the observations are given, SD formula is x minus x bar the whole square under summation divided by n under the root. First of all, what we need is the mean. So compute the mean quickly for these observations. 1 plus 6 plus 5 plus 9 plus 8 divided by how many observations? 5. So the mean is 5.8. Guys, take your calculator. X minus x bar. First of all, what is first value of x? 1 minus x bar is 5.8. I need to square this. How do I do it? Into equal. So I'll repeat. First value of x is what? 1 minus x bar is 5.8. How do I square it? Into equal. And how do I store it? M plus. Take the next value. It is 6 minus 5.8 into equal for squaring, m plus for storing. Next, 5 minus 5.8 into equal for squaring, m plus for storing. 9 minus 5.8 into equal for squaring, m plus for storing. Then 8 minus 5.8 into equal for squaring, m plus for storing. Then MRC divided by number of observations are how many? 5. Press equal, then press the square root. How much it is? 2.78. Have you all understood? It is 2.78. Now, what is CV? CV is SD by AM into 100. So, type 2.78 in the calculator, which is SD 2.78 divided by what is the mean that we have got? 5.8 into 100. That fetches you 47.93. Which option is correct? Option C is the right answer. Have you all understood? Guys, moving on to the next question. The arithmetic mean and coefficient of variation of a data set x are respectively 10 and 30. What is the variance of 30 minus 2x? Guys, what is variance of ax plus b actually? It is a square into variance of x. A value over here is minus 2 the whole square is 4, 4 into variance of x. Now, first of all, I need to find out variance of x. How do I do? First of all, find out SD of x. Yes, CV is given. What is SD? What is CV? SD by AM into 100. This is for set of x values. So, CV value is given to be how much? Arithmetic mean is 10 and CV is how much? 30. So 30 is equal to SD by 10 into 100. You see, 10 ones are 10 tens are, 10 ones are 10 threes are. SD of x is 3, SD of x is equal to 3. So variance of x is how much? 3 square, which is 9. Now all I need to do is 4 into this value 9, which is nothing but 36. Option D is the right answer. Guys, moving on to the next question. The coefficient of deviation based on 25th and 75th percentiles. Guys, what is 25th percentile? It is ungrouped data. So 25 by 100 into n plus 1, the whole value. How many observations are there over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 observations. Take your calculator. 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 into 25 divided by 100. That fetches you 2.25th value. Likewise, what is P75? It is, let me use a different ink for this. P75 is 75 by 100 into n plus 1. N being 8, 8 plus 1 is 9. 9 into 75 divided by 100. That fetches me how much? 6.75th value. Now everybody please concentrate. To find out P25, all I need to find out is 2.25th value. Guys, for quartiles, decile or percentile, you have to make sure the observations are in ascending order only. Now 2.25th value lies between second and third observations. Yes or no? So what you basically do is in ascending order, cancel the first observation. What's the least observation? 3. So cancel it off. Next two values are 4 and 4 only. Guys, second observation is 4. Even the third observation is also 4. What is 2.25th? It will be 4 only because there is no change from second to third. Obviously, 2.25th or 2.5th or 2.75th, it will remain what? It will remain what? 4 only. Have you understood? So now 2.25th value is 4. Now let me take you to what? P75. So P75 is 6.75th value. So what you guys have to do now is to find out 6.75th value. 6 and 6.75 lies between 6th and 7th. So what you do in ascending order, what is the highest observation? Highest observation over here is 9. Correct? Cancel of 9. The next two values in descending order are 8 and 8. Correct? So Sixth value and the seventh value both are 8 and 8. Obviously 6.5, 6.25, 6.75, everything will be 8 only. So we got P25 and P75. So we need to find the coefficient of deviation for this partitions. So is it not P75 minus P25 divided by P75 plus P25 into 100? It is, right? So all that you need to do is take your calculator, solve the denominator first. I mean, it's very easy. You can do it in the mind itself. 8 minus 4 is 4 divided by 8 plus 4 is 12 into 100. The result is 33.333. So which option is correct? 100 by 3 is correct. Have you all understood? Everybody? Guys, the next question is CV question. Use the formula CV is equal to ST by AM. Let's see how many of you get it right. So type the question number 16 and leave your answer by mentioning which option is correct. All right. Let's see how many of you solve this. 17th one, which of the following is not a method of measure of dispersion? Standard deviation is a measure of dispersion. MD is a measure of dispersion. Range is a measure of dispersion. Coefficient of concurrent deviation. It's not a measure of dispersion. It's a measure of correlation. So option D is the right answer. Mean deviation is minimum when deviation is taken from what? Very good. It is median. I have discussed this in the central tendency concept. Yes or no? If the first quartile is given, third quartile is given, coefficient of quartile deviation, guys, this concept we have already discussed, we have solved the question already. So please mention the question number, leave your answer. Let's see how many of you get it right. Find the mean deviation about mean. Even this variety we have already solved. Solve this question, leave your answer in the comment section. All right. Next question, SD of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These numbers are first 9 natural numbers. So what's SD of first 9 natural number? First n natural number, root of n square minus 1 by 12. There are 9 natural number. 9 square is 81 minus 1 divided by 12. Press equal. Press the root. That fetches you 2.58. Which option gives you 2.58? Look at the first option. Under root 20 by 3. Type 20 divided by 3, press equal, press the root. That is only giving you 2.58. So option A is the right answer. As the next question, the standard deviation of a given set of observation is 2.4 nearly. If 10 is added to each number, what do you mean by adding 10 to each observation? It is shift of origin. SD doesn't change on shift of origin. So it remains the same as that of 2.45. Option C is the right answer. Have you all understood? If every observation is increased by 5, what is it called as? Shift of origin. SD increases by 5, no. Mean deviation increases by 5, no. Shift of origin, none of these measures get affected. Therefore, the answer is dispersion does not get affected. Guys, 24th question, use CV formula and substitute SD and AM. So which option is correct? You just mention the question number and leave your answer there, mentioning the option, right option. Let's see how many of you get it right. And even mean and SD are given. So value of coefficient of variation. Once again, same CV formula you have to use. Which of the following measure of dispersion is based on absolute deviation? Yes, in which formula you will see absolute value? Very good. It is mean deviation. Mean deviation is actually, let's say for example, mean deviation about mean. You have x minus x bar under modulus under summation divided by n. So modulus you'll come across, that means absolute value you come across in which measure? Mean deviation. Therefore option C. The best statistical measure used for comparing two series is coefficient of variation. Option C. Have you all understood? Guys, let me just take you to the next question, which is little different. Mean deviation about these numbers. Mean deviation about mean. Formula is summation x minus x bar under modulus divided by n. So take the mean, find the mean, then take the deviation, find out how much it is. All right, that's pretty easy. Mean of a series is equal to 100. Coefficient is coefficient of variation is given SD. They have asked. So what is CV? SD by AM into 100. Use the formula, get the answer. All these are examination questions, guys. All are easy laddu questions. Yes or no? Right. So if you feel these questions are easy, please type easy. Right? Type easy in the comment section. Let's see how many of you feel that this chapter is easy. All right. Coefficient of variation is relative measure of what? It's a relative measure of dispersion. It's a relative measure of dispersion, right? Q3 minus Q1 divided by Q3 plus Q1 is known as, it is what? Coefficient of quartile deviation. Where is it? Coefficient of QD. The SD of first and natural numbers is root 30. So what is the formula? It is square root of n square minus 1 by 12, which is equal to root 30. They're asking us to find the value of n. Guys, we can cancel root on both the side by squaring on both the side. So 30 is equal to n square minus 1 by 12. If I cross multiply, 30 into 12 is 360 is equal to n square minus 1. Minus 1 becomes plus 1. So 361 is n square. So if I want to take the value of n, take the root of it. So n is equal to what? 19. Option A is the right answer. Have you all understood? Right? Yeah. Guys, look at this 43rd question. Standard deviation is dash times root of MD into QD. Guys, whenever you are asked to find, asked to solve such questions, what you basically do is use the relationship between SD, MD and QD. What is it? 2 SD equal to 2.5 MD equal to 3 QD. And they're asking SD is equal to what times root MD into QD. Alright. So what you do is express everything in terms of same one thing. That means either SD or MD or QD. Since I have SD on the left hand side, I express everything in terms of SD. So SD will remain as it is because I am expressing everything in terms of SD. This unknown, I will take it as X. The whatever is in the blank, I'll take it as X into root of MD in terms of SD. Guys, if I want to find MD in terms of SD, this 2.5 will go to the other side. 2 divided by 2.5, SD is MD. Correct? Likewise, what is QD in terms of SD? 2 divided by 3 into SD. Correct? Now take your calculator. First of all, this SD into SD is SD square. If I take the root of it, SD. So both the side, this SD will get cancelled. Have you understood? SD into SD is SD square. Out of the root, if I take it, it becomes SD. Both the side SD will get cancelled. Now solve everything within the root now, which is 2 divided by 2.5. 2 divided by 2.5 into 2 divided by 3. Press equal, press the root. So because there is a root. Now how do I transpose it to the other side? Divide equal into, there is nothing means 1. So x value is 1.369 is equal to x. The right answer for this question is, which option gives you 1.369? If you look at option C, 15 divided by 8, press equal, press the root. That is what gives you 1.369. So option C is the right answer. Guys, moving on to the next question. Quartile deviation of 6 numbers is equal to what? First of all, what is QD, guys? QD is Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2. Yes or no? So what is Q3? Q3 is 3 by 4 into n plus 1, the whole value. Yes or no? Don't waste your time in arranging the observations in ascending order. We will do it towards the end. What to do, I'll tell you. Don't waste your time in arranging all observations in ascending order. Of course, you want the observations to be in ascending order only, but that's a waste of time if you arrange all observations in the ascending order. Now what you do, how many observations? 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 threes are 21 divided by 4 is 5.25th value. Guys, 5.25th value lies between 5th and 6th, correct? 5th and 6th. That means what are 5th and 6th value? The last two values in the ascending order. What are the last two values that we have in the ascending order? 40 and 41. So that means your 5.25th value lies between 40 and 41. How do I find out exactly what value it is? So what I should basically do is take the difference between these two values. So 41 minus 40 is 1 into the decimal part of this is 0.25 plus the smallest among these two, 40 and 41, is 40. So plus 40, that fetches me how much? 40.25. Have you understood? Highlighted value, whatever you have done, because 5.25 lies between 5th and 6th, we have highlighted them. Take the difference between the two, which is 1, and multiply the decimal part of it, which is 0.25, plus add the smaller among the two which we have highlighted. So plus 40 gives you 40.25. Likewise, Q1, if you want to find out, it's 1 by 4 into n plus 1, the whole value. N is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7, 7 by 4 is 1.75th value. Correct? Now 1.75th value, if you want to find out, it is between first and second value. So first and second value means least observation is first and the next value more than first observation is second. So what is the least observation here? It is 8. The next value after 8 is 15. So my required quartile lies between 8 and 15. What do I do first of all? Take the difference. 15 minus 8. Then multiply that with the decimal part into 0.75. Plus add the smaller part. What is the smaller part here? 8. And the result is 13.25. So I got the upper quartile, I got the lower quartile, take the difference. So what is it? 40.25 minus 13.25 divided by 2, and the result is 13.5. Option C is the right answer. Have you all understood? Everybody say yes or no. Guys, let's solve this question. First quartile is 142, semi-interquartile range actually. Semi-interquartile range is 18. Find the median. Guys, what is semi-interquartile range? Q3 minus Q1 divided by 2, which is equal to 18. So Q3 minus Q1 is equal to 36. So we can actually compute Q3 because Q1 is given. So 36 plus Q1, 36 plus what is Q1? 142. That fetches you 178. Third quartile we got 178. First quartile is 142. We are asked to find the median. When you are given lower quartile and upper quartile, what is the median? Q1 plus Q3 divided by 2, which is 142 plus 178 divided by 2. That fetches you how much? 160. So option B is the right answer. Guys, have you understood? See guys, we have seen all varieties of questions that could be asked in the exam on dispersion. Now that we have completed the target for today's session, right? So if you have also completed, please do type dispersion in the comment section. So with this guys, I would like to wish you all very best for the examination. Yashasvi Bhava. See you all for the next session, right? The target for the next session is sequence and series, chapter number 6, right? Be prepared. Let's see tomorrow. Till then, bye bye.